Hey, thanks for joining us. I'm Sim and Tom, and we're going to continue on the resurrection, the evidence for it, and the eyewitness accounts.
Evidence of the resurrection!
Well, probably one of the most powerful testimonies that you're going to get in a court of law is going to be an eyewitness testimony. Somebody who was actually there and seen whatever the incident was happen, with their own eyes, and they can give a testimony about that. Well, in the Bible, we have eyewitness accounts to the resurrection, and we would consider these to be extremely powerful. You have Matthew and John, who are eyewitnesses to the resurrection, and Peter most likely gave the information to John Mark, with the book of Mark. And Luke says that he wasn't an eyewitness, but that he carefully interviewed and investigated the eyewitnesses to the resurrection to make sure that he was careful on how he put his book together there. So in addition to the eyewitness accounts that we would say are extremely powerful, so another powerful testimony is the one from a hostile witness. In Saul, who became Paul, would fit this mold for us.
Exactly.
This is a person who was persecuting Christians, locking them up, throwing them in jail, watching them be killed. And he says that he had an encounter with the risen Lord himself on the road to Damascus. And he gives his account of that. Another one who maybe isn't hostile, but is neutral, but definitely had a change, is James, who is considered the half-brother of Jesus. Jesus' siblings that we read earlier in Scripture were kind of skeptical of him. And
they thought he was a nutcase.
Yeah, why don't you go tell him who you are, Jesus? Is kind of what they're saying to him. But James, we see, after the resurrection took place, has changed. He's on board.
Right.
He says Jesus, he's the Messiah. All right, so these are people whose lives were changed. James certainly would have been an eyewitness. In eyewitness testimony, you guys got to realize how powerful it is.
Yeah, not only that, we were talking before we started filming about how the disciples were discouraged after the crucifixion. I mean, they were discouraged, and there's historical document. The Bible is historical document of their discouragement. And so when Jesus shows up resurrected to them, there were some of them that were even like, am I seeing a ghost here? Mm-hmm. They were in unbelief. So that doesn't sound like a really courageous mythology thing. I mean, if it was a mythology thing and it was a fiction story, it would be like, oh, the master's here, we're going to go conquer the world. No, they were like, some of them were like, oh my gosh, am I seeing a ghost here? Right. And then Jesus goes and says, go ahead and touch, and then he even ate food in front of them. Yeah. So that's a remarkable statement in itself as an eyewitness account.
Another thing that the disciples mentioned, which today wouldn't seem like a big deal, but 2,000 years ago it was a big deal. They gave the first sighting of the empty tomb in Jesus to women.
Right.
They gave them that. Back then, people didn't care what women said.
No.
The witness of a woman didn't matter back then, but they wrote that in their Gospels. Now, people back then might have put their nose up to it, but they were just being truthful.
Right.
This is who's seen him first. Didn't make them look better. If
Right.
they were just writing some mythology, they would say, I seen him first.
Right.
I was there. But no, they gave credit where credit was due. They were being truthful.
Right.
And they were being honest, Peter denying Jesus. That's kind of embarrassing after the fact.
Right.
But you include that.
Yeah.
I denied him. Thomas saying, I ain't gonna believe till I stick my fingers in his hands,
Right.
Till I see the wounds, I'm not believing.
Right.
They included that stuff, so.
And then Paul also talked about the 500 people who seen him all at once, and that some are still alive, and there's no such thing as a mass psychosis or a mass hallucination, because it's impossible for that to happen. It's just like, I like what the one lady said on the Case for Christ. She said, in order for a mass hallucination to happen, actually it's impossible because it's like a dream. You can't be a part of someone else's hallucination. Right. So we got that also. Paul said, hey, there's some still alive. Otherwise, hey, go check them out.
And some people may not realize that the disciples say, in the gospel accounts say that Jesus was here for 40 days after the resurrection on earth, walking around, seeing people, talking to people. It wasn't just like a couple days later he was there and then see ya, gone. Right. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement to say that he walked amongst us and, like you said, appeared to more than 500 at the same time. That's a very bold statement.
It's a very bold statement.
And some who are still alive, you can still go talk to them.
Exactly.
So that's cool.
Explosion of the early church!
Hey, join us tomorrow when we talk more about the evidence of the resurrection.
The just shall live by faith.
If you would like to have future updates on videos and events, like us on the Facebook page, and also we'd appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel. You have a great day.